The high hill of Birya in the northern Israeli district of the Galilee is one of the highest points in the area. Surrounded by trees, here we can find great remains from one of the most fascinating eras of the Jewish people.
The thing that attracted so many Jews to the Galilee, to Birya forest or Birya mountains over here, is the fact that they were not allowed to go to Jerusalem. They were pushed away because of both rebellions. The Great Rebellion and the Bar Kokhba Rebellion, they were pushed away from Judea district, from Jerusalem, and they went into the Galilee. In the Galilee, first of all, you can make a living. You can grow olives, there is water, etc. Then slowly, like a place like Birya, which is on the border of Israel, and we met it also in Mount Hebron. It's on the border. It's on the border of Israel. Over here, you can have great communication with the communities that living in Syria and in Babylon.
One of the most interesting remains here is the Jewish synagogue of Naburiya. This Jewish city goes back to the late 1st century, right after the Great Jewish Revolt. Following the destruction of Jerusalem, Jews had to flee to the Galilee and adjust to a new reality in which the Jewish temple no longer existed.
In the synagogues, we talked about it before, in the synagogues, two major things are happening. First of all, study. This is the continuation of Judaism as we know today. We study. We remember in the temple of that day and day we did this and this. We study the mitzvot, we study the halakha, we study the laws. Another thing that happening in this ceremony, this is a center for the community.
The synagogue in the center of the Jewish village is unique in many ways, but also represents the post-temple Galilee style. A rare inscription found here says, built 494 years after the destruction of the temple, under the leadership of Hanina ben Uzar and Luliana bar Yuden.
Another thing which is interesting over here is the stage for the Torah book over there, and on the other side, which is not very typical, another stage for the preacher, the one that will talk. Over here we find some writings which are interesting, and another interesting thing about the stage, we found lions over there. Lions, as we all know, this is the symbol of Jerusalem. To be more accurate, this is the symbol of Judea tribe. Again, you see that no more temple, no more Jerusalem, but still the Jewish community preserve the tribe system, the Kohanim system, the Leviim systems, and we find it over here, far away in a remote area in Israel.
The Jews who fled Jerusalem had to find creative ways to make a living in their new home. One of them was the olive oil industry, which helped the community survive in a difficult time of destruction and restrictions.
And all these villages in the Galilee are producing olive oil, but further, before they were giving the oil to the temple in Jerusalem. Now there's no more temple. So all the oil that produced here in the Galilee are going to Lebanon, to Tzur and Sidon. And we have a phenomena that Jews produce olive oil, but not for the Jewish people. They are exporting it outside. Now we can understand, or we can have a small hint, how come that when Jews are leaving Israel, they have already connections outside of Israel, and they start to take their community. They did it one time, coming from Jerusalem to the Galilee. Then from the Galilee, they're producing oil and they sell it to Lebanon. Now it's more easy to leave the Galilee, to establish a community in Lebanon, and then to Morocco, and then to Spain, and then to Europe.
The Birya Hills also became a popular burial site for righteous Jews. Some of them were transferred from a distance.
We are in the tomb, in the grave, in the cave of the most typical scholars of the Talmud, Abaye and Rabbah, which were friends and colleagues. They were running yeshivas, Surah and Pumbedita, in Babylon, in Bavel, about in the year 250 to the year 300 after Christ. And they were both characters which known as the educator of the generation in Babylon. You can hardly find a page in the Talmud that the name Abaye or Rabbi is not mentioned.
Just a few kilometers from the famous Jewish city of Safed and close to Tiberias, another famous city that flourished during the time of the Talmud. The hills of Birya may not be a famous tourist attraction, but the sound of the Jewish sages still echoes between the leaves of this beautiful mountain.